Viewers, welcome back. We're here with Congressman Ellison. Congressman Ellison, as a representative of the U.S. government and a Muslim, what kinds of initiatives have you taken part in to bridge the gap between the United States, its Muslims, and the Muslims in the Arab and other parts of the world?
Well, I've traveled extensively to other parts of the world, and I've tried to help Muslims in other parts of the world understand that the United States is a country where there's political pluralism, diversity, where the policies of the government will be determined by whoever is elected. And so, the fact is that the United States is a country that is open, available, rule of law, democracy. That's who we are and what we're about. And I've also listened to their points of view. And I've been in different parts of the world. When I was in Europe, I met with Muslim communities there. And when I was in Pakistan or Africa or the Middle East, met with Muslim communities there and interacted with them, trying to pursue public diplomacy, building bridges of understanding. Also, too, I have tried to encourage Muslims within the United States to become politically engaged, politically active, whether not just in Congress, but also school boards all over. I've promoted and tried to encourage the interfaith dialogue so that peoples of different faith backgrounds can get to know each other better and not operate based on stereotype or misinformation. And of course, I've promoted, we passed a resolution which honored a common word, which is a statement by leading Muslim scholars, which talked about interaction between Muslims and Christians, and was authored by Muslim scholars, I think, coming from Jordan. And so I've been active. I intend to be active in the future, God willing, and I think it's an important thing. I think President Obama's right when he said, his motion in his action in Cairo and in Ankara, and I'm hoping that to try to augment and support the work he's doing in that regard.
What would you say to the many Muslims who, while they oppose religious extremism, consider the U.S. a graver threat?
Well, here's what I would say. I would say that the United States is a country that is reviewing how it has approached and interacted with the rest of the world, and that the people who want to interact diplomatically based on exchanges of culture and academic freedom and on a business-to-business basis, this voice is emerging, but it won't be overnight. The fact is that because we have a democratic system, the people who called for war and those people prevailed over the last 8 years. But that other democratic impulse that says we should be a member of a global community is emerging now. But the United States is a country of 300 million people with a gross domestic product of perhaps $15 trillion. And so it's not easy to shift quickly. But I would say that those people who believe the United States is a graver threat ought to understand the United States is a dynamic society, that there are a lot of Americans who want to move toward interaction, diplomacy, and dialogue, and that this move toward military solutions is falling out of favor. And so those people ought to keep their minds open and look for opportunities where we can interact in a constructive and positive way.
Alluding to the last 8 years, if the U.S. Was not deliberately working against the interests of people in the Muslim world, would you attribute these mistakes to incompetence?
Well, I would attribute certain, like the Iraq War would be a mistake.
Specifically, yes.
I would say that was, as I said, that was a result of certain elements within the Bush administration who, quite frankly, feel that every problem is a nail and the solution is always a hammer. That kind of thinking, I don't think served our country well. But again, I think it's important to remember that when the United States went into Kosovo, we were helping to protect Muslim people there. When the United States, in 1993, when the United States tried to play a positive role in Somalia, not altogether successful. That was Muslim community. The United States is a partner of, it is an ally of Pakistan, Muslim country, also Jordan, also Saudi, many other countries in the world. So the United States is not anti-Muslim, but certain of its policies have from the perspective of the Muslim world, may have looked not exactly friendly, but there is no inherent conflict. The fact is, we've got to get together, we've got to talk, and in my opinion, the Muslim world needs to do some self-reflection itself. I mean, look how many Muslim countries are democratic, where rule of law is respected, where you can safely criticize the government and not find yourself in a jail cell or a grave. Think about, in some Muslim countries, if a woman wears a hijab, she, on a university campus or in a government building, she would be told she must not do that. And in some other ones, if she doesn't wear one, she will be told she can't do that. You know, I mean, what about freedom? What about there's no compulsion in religion? In the United States, you can be Shia, you can be Sunni, you can be Ibadi, you can be Ismaili, whatever you want. That's your business. There are some countries in the Muslim world where you better be whatever the predominant faith is, or you are going to be politically isolated and intimidated. You know, so my opinion is, you know, the United States needs to evolve. The Muslim world also does too. There's, and again, you know, it's easy to always say the other guy is the one who needs to do the changing. Yes. But everybody needs to do some changing. And the people who believe in human rights, who believe in respect for religious minorities, who believe in women's rights, who believe in democracy and the idea that the community should, the leaders should reflect the views of the community. In much the same way that Abu Bakr said, if I'm wrong, correct me. If I'm right, support me. But I'm here because to represent your views. That's what he said, right? I mean, the fact is there is a lot of democratic history and legacy in the Muslim world. We need to embrace that. There's nothing anti-Muslim about democracy. But now there may be some things that democratic countries have done wrong in Muslim countries. But the idea that people's rights should be respected and that the leadership should take its cue from the will of the people, you know, these are something that everybody in the world can be able to agree with.